The first time I came into ETH rooftop is back in October 2018 when I was visiting SAFARI for the interviews. And when I saw the views of this amazing Zurich lake, the old town, and the entirety of the university campus, I immediately knew that this is where I want to do my PhD studies. I knew that this is the place. I'm Rahul. I have been to SAFARI Research Group since 2019 September. I was a PhD student here and now I'm currently employed as a senior research scientist in Huawei Zurich. I started in SAFARI in 2019 and before coming here I completed my master's back in India, and then after completion I was working as a architecture researcher in Intel Labs for 3 years. And during this research process I got introduced to Onu's work. And the team that I was working with, they're also frequently collaborating with Onu. And then I was very much interested in the work that Onu is doing. So I applied to his research group, and then we had some interviews, and then I came here in 2019. Either on this side or that side, it basically provides a correlation. So this is like a Pearson correlation sort of, you can imagine. So if it is positively correlated, it means that, whenever that feature comes in, you know that this would go off. If it is negative, for example, this is... Memory bottleneck is basically fundamentally stemming from the fact that accessing memory is much slow than computing on the data. So when we access the memory to get a data, that is much slower as well as much inefficient in terms of energy as compared to operating on that data. Why this is a challenge? Because nowadays we are generating much more data what you can process. For example, large language models that we everyday use to, let's say, even emerging applications like genome sequence processing, we are actually generating much more data that our current processors can even efficiently handle. So that's why going into the future, to have a sustainable future, we need processors that can operate on this data much more efficiently in a faster rate. During my PhD, I mostly worked on high performance processor design, more specifically the memory system design of high performance processors. So what I investigated is around the fact that the way that we have designed processors are fundamentally human centric, in a sense that we as a human designer ask it to do something and then they keep on doing the same thing, even if they are probably seeing something different in their lifetime. So in a sense, we saw that there are multiple decision making that are happening inside processor which are not purely data driven, meaning that the data that the processor is seeing is not impacting what the decision that it should make. So that was the key aspect of my PhD thesis, that how can we enable hardware to learn from the data that it's seeing to make adaptive decisions on the fly. The second contribution that would do is Hermes. So it's another speculation policy that goes very similar to hardware prefetching, but this is a bit different in a sense that we're not actually trying to predict what the address is going to be generated by the processor, but once we know the address, whether this request would go and access the DRAM. And these are the memory requests that are the most performance critical. So, and we showed in this paper that if we can do this prediction, then we have a good amount of performance benefit. And to enable this mechanism, we also propose something that is again data driven. So this prediction mechanism learns from the data to autonomously decide and predict which memory request may go to the DRAM and then fetch the data from there. I hope that the ideas, the techniques that we devised in this thesis is going to influence new generations of prefetching mechanisms, new generations of speculations mechanisms and control mechanisms inside processors that are going to be much more data driven. Right? So instead of us human designers designing it and explicitly telling the hardware what to do, hopefully these works that we did during my PhD thesis is going to influence the real hardware designers to think these speculation policies, control policies even more fundamentally from grounds up to make them data driven. And some of the we are already seeing interest from our industrial partners in the proposals that we have made in their use cases. So we are eagerly waiting to work with them to make this thing realized in actual hardware in the future. So as a researcher, SAFARI cultivates a very inclusive environment. We acknowledge comments from everyone, irrespective of how senior they are in the group. Onur always encourages us to explore big ideas, irrespective of whether this aligns with the current trajectory of the group or not. Because he believes that ideas, as long as they're big and we are aiming high, it should be a good thing to chase. So that freedom is very much, it actually helped a lot shaping me as a researcher, so that I can think independently, I can carve the path independently by myself. And as a person, how it impacted is this rigor that we go through, both in terms of the the experiments we are doing, the way that we are writing our papers, the way that we are communicating, the way that we are generating the presentation. So every place we have the utmost amount of rigor that we stood to ourselves. That rigor actually helps me as a person. So when I'm also writing something very simple to, let's say, for the apartment application, I also go through that same amount of rigor. And this sort of rigor shaped me a lot in my personal life. So I would have some recommendations for the students who want to pursue PhDs with SAFARI. Don't let yourself limited by the ideas that you want to chase. Be also open to feedback. I can guarantee this, that SAFARI would give you the environment and the resources to gather as much information as you want. So just stay open.